you, Chairperson, for this kind introduction. At the outset, let me thank Bansi Sabu, sir, for giving me this opportunity, and RSSDI team. Sir, at the outset, a huge gratitude and congratulations to you, sir, on behalf of all of us for super success of Defeat Diabetes. I think this for South Asian patient is around 49, as compared to for blacks it is 58, 57, and for whites it is 58. Now these South Asian subjects, they had very high risk of diabetes or maybe diagnosis at a very low BMI, as compared to white subject with BMI of 30. Now we are aware about this. It's not just deficiency and resistance. It's about B12, D3. all other factors, abdominal obesity, low muscle mass, everything. Now, these are few factors which are contributing to the rise of diabetes prevalence among Indians. Asian Indians are 3 to 4 more insulin resistant, 3 to 4 times more insulin resistance. We all know that. The beta cell responsiveness is also very, very less compared to the insulin resistance they have. And the beta cell secretory defect sets in very early in course of type 2 diabetes, and abdominal obesity obviously predisposes to other complications. Now, when we are talking about specific defects in type 2 diabetics, Asian Indians from Chennai data, prevalence of diabetes is almost 50% at the age of 55 years. They are relatively thinner. At the diagnosis, BMI may be just 25. They have typically higher, fasting plasma glucose that may reflective of insulin resistance. And over 2/3 of prediabetes is isolated impaired fasting glucose. Now, when we are looking at this beta cell function decline, when we are comparing glycemic status, disposition index and insulin resistance, beta cell decline occurs very rapidly in Asian Indians. Now, when we are looking at incretin response in Asian type 2 diabetic patients, are we really different? Higher insulin and GLP-1 levels observed in healthy and young South Asians as compared to Caucasian during OGTT. Whether this is an adaptive process to facilitate hyperinsulinemia, to overcome insulin resistance, or reflect a GLP-1 resistant state is yet to be elucidated. But now we are going to talk about DPP-4 inhibitors. The proteolytic processing, the conversion of membrane DPP-4 to soluble DPP-4, this is the fundamental significance to pathogenesis of metabolic disease. And we all know that DPP-4 enzyme is very, very overactive in type 2 diabetic patients. If you compare in this graph from normal glucose tolerant patient to type 2 diabetes patients, DPP-4 activity is extremely high, and for any DPP-4 inhibitor to be effective, that DPP-4 inhibitor has to act for 24 hours, and it has to suppress DPP-4 trough at least more than 90%. Now, this is data from China that increased DPP-4 plasma activity is predictive of prediabetes and type 2 diabetes at onset. This is a 4-year follow-up study. Almost 400 patients, between the age of 18 and 70 were studied. And in this, again, it was seen that DPP-4 activity is very, very high in type 2 diabetic patient compared to normal glucose tolerant patients. Now, in this slide, DPP-4 enzyme correlates to all the markers of insulin resistance. For example, waist-hip ratio, total intra-abdominal adverse volume, liver span, fasting serum insulin, LDL, tricep skin fold, and total intra-abdominal adipose tissue volume. So DPP-4 enzyme is not just related to pancreatic action, but at the insulin resistance level as well. Now, increased plasma DPP-4 activity is totally obesity independent parameter of dysglycemia. It is not related just to BMI. Both plasma DPP-4 levels and their activity was increased in type 2 diabetic patients in non-obese and obese, both the groups in this study. Now, talking about adiponectin and diabetes, Indian studies have always shown that there is always low level of adiponectin levels. Baseline adiponectin levels are very, very high, and they independently predict the future development of type 2 diabetes, and I think this is a very, very clinically relevant point. Now, in this study, this is a study, shared study. In this, there is a data from more than 1,000 patients from South Asian, Chinese, and European candidates. In this study, it was seen that a high glycemic index was associated with a larger decrease in adiponectin among South Asians, and compared to Caucasian population, there is low adiponectin levels and increased HOMA insulin resistance level. Now, when we are talking about some different aspect, gut microbiota may be a source of DPP4-like activity. Now, DPP4-like activity is produced by gut microbiota could be a new mechanism through which microbes influence physiological and pathological processes. And in next few minutes, we will be looking through one elegant study which happened in Turkey with a small subject size, that how this DPP4 activity through microbiota, if we can alter gut microbiota, how can we modulate initial complication course of metabolic complication course. Now, what is the call for action? First is healthy lifestyle, early detection of dysglycemia, cardiometabolic risk factors, understanding Indian phenotype better, beta cell dysfunction, which is the dominant pathophysiology in Asian Indian phenotype. What are the SMART resource managements? Now, this is one small study in which after optimization of metformin dose, almost more than 1,000 patients were randomized to give 100 milligram of sitagliptin and glipizide 5 milligram. And sitagliptin gave reduction of HbA1c as compared to glipizide, equally clinically meaningful HbA1c reduction. Beta cell exhaustion was very, very less with sitagliptin, and pro-insulin to insulin ratio significantly improved with sitagliptin. There was no increased pro-insulin formation as we see with sulfonylureas. Now, how DPP4 impacts beta cells? It increases C-peptide, it improves HOMA beta, it reduces pro-insulin to insulin ratio, which is seen typically only with DPP4 inhibitor and SGLT2 inhibitors, not with any other glucose-lowering therapy. And how does it affect alpha cells? It addresses glucagon dysfunction, it restores glucose-dependent glucagon release, it addresses fasting hyperglycemia, and it basically not only reduces PPG but fasting as well. This is now a table which is comparing all glucose lowering therapy in one chart. Whenever we are combining DPP4 and metformin, we are addressing all the metabolic defects and pathophysiology of type 2 diabetes: insulin production, insulin secretion, hepatic glucose output, insulin peripheral resistance, hepatic resistance, increased glucose. Only defect which is obviously not addressed is increased glucose reabsorption, but except that effect, everything is addressed. So this combination basically affects all biomarkers, including pro-insulin, insulin ratio, HOMA beta function increases, and insulin resistance also goes down. Now, this is a study which proves sitagliptin's metal for durability. This is a cosmic study in which gliptin and metformin was started for patients, type 2 diabetic patient, as an initial combination therapy, and more than 88% of the patients responded over 4 years. And there was clinically significant, meaningful HbA1c reduction. When we are comparing all the gliptins on one platform, sitagliptin is the only drug which has maximum inhibition property, and DPP4 stays inhibited for more than 90% for over the period of 24 hours. So it is the most potent gliptin. Do Indians respond better to DPP4? Definitely. This is an elegant study where Dr. V. Mohan sir was part of this study. In this study, when Indian population, Chinese population, and Korean population was compared, there was a clinically meaningful HbA1c reduction by 1.3% in Indian population, fasting reduced by 40, and PP reduced by 50. Now, how about adding DPP4 as a fourth add-on to the therapy? Now, this is retrospective analysis of more than 7,000 patients who received DPP4 as fourth drug. In this group, the mean duration required to control diabetes with sitagliptin was significantly less as just 1.7 months as compared to other gliptins like vildagliptin and teneligliptin. Now, this is a very long-term study, 7 years impact of sitagliptin compared to SU on metabolic risk factors. More than 500 patients were, they were given different kind of OHs, and there was improvement in HDL. There was improvement in anti-inflammatory markers like HSCRP, LDL cholesterol also improved. So, with reduction of consistent HbA1c reduction up to 84 months. Along with that, there was reduction in inflammatory markers as well. Now, this is Indian data in which sitagliptin was compared with patients who were on metformin plus insulin. And if you can see the reduction with glargine plus metformin and sitagliptin plus metformin, the reduction at the end of 24 weeks is at par with glargine. Now, SWIM study, this is also very interesting study. This is insulin sparing effect of sitagliptin. Now, these were the patients who were on the background therapy of metformin plus insulin, and then sitagliptin and glimepiride was started. Somehow, it was seen that there was greater reduction with HbA1c. There was more patients who achieved target less than 6.5, and almost 76% of the patients could achieve reduction of insulin dose. What could be the reason? Compared to SU, if Sita is achieving such control, what could be the reason? So the reason may be it doesn't just act at the pancreatic level, but it decreases HOMA-insulin resistance and it decreases leptin levels also. So probably we will just go into the details of this leptin and adiponectin in next few slides. Now this is a data from Japan, where it was seen then when sitagliptin was given in the dose of 100 milligram, it causes significant improvement in serum adiponectin levels, and there is improvement of the metabolic control as well. Now, what is the effect of ghrelin? We all know that ghrelin is an appetite stimulant. So this is a small study from Turkey. It's a very small subject study. 44 subjects were given. One group was given medical nutrition therapy and one group was given sitagliptin. It was seen that there was a significant decrease in total ghrelin in the groups receiving sitagliptin, and there was no difference in ghrelin levels in the group receiving medical nutrition therapy. And by acting through ghrelin pathway, there was improvement in BMI and HbA1c as well. Now, what about gut microbiota? We just discussed 5 minutes back about gut microbiota. That's a sum of bacterial DPP4 plus PEPEX activities could be a new mechanism through which the microbes influence physiological and pathological processes in humans. So it can be basically a target to improve, modify, and reverse the efficacy of current medications. So I think I'm at the end of the lecture. I was a little tense today. Probably I'm facing crowd after a long time. I was in a slightly domestic role probably few months back. And then I'm on the dais after a very long time. Sir, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to boost my confidence. I was really hesitant to face everyone, but I could at least finish the lecture. Thank you so much.